Hello and welcome to the Passion Driven Pioneers interview series. I'm your host, John Channon, and today I'm joined by Barak Steenlage, who is the co-owner of Anchor Builders. Barak, thank you so much for joining us today.
Definitely glad to be here.
Would you like to just kick us off with a brief background as to who you are, what you do, and then the business that you're in?
Yeah, I'm Barak Steenlage. I'm co-owner of Anchor Builders. I founded with my two brothers, and we are basically three companies under one roof. Our origination story was a framing carpentry company, and so that was our background before Anchor Builders, and we still maintain and run multiple crews as part of Anchor Framing. And we also have a design branch of our company where we have interior designers and architects as part of our design build process. And whether you're planning on going through the design build process and journey with us, or are looking for some high end design support, wherever you have a builder or not. And then the third one is our general contracting, whether it's remodeling, additions, or hiring custom homes. And so that's who we are as a company today, and we're located out of St. Louis Park, Minnesota, and enjoy working with clients and team members who enjoy the process. And we have try to bring that a little more joy to the process and structure the process, and that's been one of the things that we've kind of grown into over the last 20 years.
So you mentioned that you're co-owners with two of your brothers, correct?
Co-owners with one, but our
Co-owners
other,
with one.
but
But there's another brother involved. So
yes, he's the longest employee.
Oh, cool. So talk to me about that separation of duties and kind of what's your role and then what's the role of the other co-owner and maybe even your other brother. How are those separated?
Yeah, so I'm kind of the visionaries and kind of the sales or onboarding side of our design and build side, and uh, and my brother John oversees our carpentry framing team and operational and build support for our build design and build team. And then my brother Tim is our most seasoned team member, and he oversees the framing department and is a foreman of one of the crews on site. And so we have all pretty unique skills with overlapping, but also unique sort of passions and interests and temperament. And so it obviously there were generally some growing pains and learning moments, but we had some advantage because we grew up on a farm and we worked together, hands on, side by side from a very young age. And some of the joke is that being the younger of the two, and I'm from a larger family than just the two, but younger in general in my family, they joke a little bit that I couldn't compete with them and some of their hands-on skill knowledge, and so I had to find my own path. So indirectly, I moved into more the office business development side, and has naturally worked out well for all of us.
So could you share with us maybe a little bit about what those first few years were like?
Yeah, so I mean, I started, my initial goal was to go to become an engineer and go to college, become an engineer, and I started there and spent some time at the U of M. And I think, combination of a few things is, I think myself, I was born into a fairly poor family. My parents were teachers, and with a large family and trying to farm, that was not a sort of a real financially, great spot to grow as a kid. But it was a very we worked hard, learned a lot of you know values growing up. And so part of it was like, I'm not sure. I enjoyed working construction. I followed my brothers into the hands-on field while I was going through college, and and I thought, well, I'm going to stick with college and just work on the side. But eventually, kind of combination of I think I could do better in this industry, and I would take a few years off and just work and make some money for myself. And then once I decided to drop out of college, I realized quickly that I didn't want to work for somebody else. And so part of the goal was to create a company that I wanted to work at, And then as that evolved over the years, I wanted to create a company that others love to work at as well. And then also just some frustration with the kind of industry status quo. I feel like there was, I was 22 when I thought about doing this, and so I look back and I'm like, what did you know to think those thoughts? But I always thought there were some updated methods and opportunity for innovation and also some improved kind of business structure. And so that was some of the driving force. And then also just confidence I could do better. I mean, I don't know where all that confidence came from or that drive came from, but sometimes it's just, it's like, I think we can do a little bit better, a little bit better. And so started the journey and it was definitely, sort of getting sprayed by a fire hose. It just that you think you're good at something by because you're a good carpenter, a good framer, a good skill set, and you oftentimes are getting promoted or reach the next level because you've sort of feel like you've kind of expired what you can do at that level. But in reality, being running a company is a completely different skill set, and so that was a hard learned sort of life lesson or business lesson that I kept struggling against for many years, and it was trying to do as minimal I could on the business to get back to, on site or dealing with, the parts I thought I was, meant to do in the business, whether it was building, framing, or modeling, things like that. And it took a while to learn that the real job is building a company and setting the vision, values, and leading a team. And that took I think probably a dozen years, honestly, to get to that point. To really embrace myself as a business owner and not just a builder or a tradesman.
So you mentioned wanting to bring some level of innovation to the industry and to the business. What are some of the things that you're doing or some of the specific strategies you're using to remain innovative in this space?
Yeah, I think that I really wanted to be innovative, and I think part of my early anchor builders years was pretty frustrating because I spent so much of my time doing the work and not actually, getting a chance or spending my time in innovation. So in many ways, I hired a coach. I don't even know how many years, maybe a dozen years ago or half a dozen years ago, and I sat down with them and I'm like, I need to fix my team. This person has issues, this person has issues, this person has issues. We need to fix everybody. And and I remember the coach at the time was like, hey, you kind of got this all wrong. We're here to fix you. And I was like, well, that's who's next on my coaching list because this is not going to work. I didn't walk out of the meeting, but I thought about it. I was like, let's take a little longer. And the reality is there's a lot of truth to it. You can't fix your team, you can fix yourself. And indirectly, sometimes by fixing yourself, you can either learn, your team can come with you and you can influence them and bring them with you, or you can decide, hey, some of the team members are not suited for what we're going for. And so changing my approach and adjusting and really letting go control and more empowering the team, setting purpose, mission, values, and then realizing that there's previously all the ideas filtered through me, which seemed like a simple concept, and a lot of the ideas came from me. But I had no energy or time or sort of overall consistent support to make those happen. And so it was a challenging uphill battle and frustrating. Over the years, starting with kind of relaunching with the coach and things like that, we learned to be a more empowered team, and with me letting go. And so now where this, we realize that there's leadership moments at all level, and whether it's your first day on the job or a seasoned person is not attached to title or position. And so having an empowered team not only allows me more time for more ideas and more sort of innovation, but it also realized that we're getting great ideas and improvements from all levels, whether it's a team, clients, trades. And so we're really encouraging an environment where that stuff surfaces more quickly, and then we can test, learn, and adapt. And like, hey, let's try it out. So while John and I, as owners, still have final say on a lot of the bigger things and we're in a position and we're continuing to grow into the position where innovation isn't a top-down thing. It's a cultural, like we're doing this all together. And it's amazing how many more ideas are able to be implemented, tested quicker. And so whether it's about energy efficiency and how we build a better envelope, better air quality, whether it's just a better practice to do something that is a little more seamless. There's a lot of innovation, and part of my thing is really creating that structure, a team structure, and that place where not only I enjoy working at, which is one of the origination pieces, but also where my team enjoys working at, and then on an extension where clients enjoy going through the process together with us. And so really trying to bring some of that joy, fun into the workplace, into the process, and indirectly innovation has been a direct result on it on all levels.
That's great. I appreciate you taking the time to share that. So, Barak, could you maybe just offer us a glimpse into your future plans and goals that you have for your business?
Yeah, so I mean, I think we did this whole run the company kind of the old-fashioned way, sort of, trades now become business owners. We try to work on it through the more traditional model of, we have managers at different levels and they manage the team and stuff like that. And there is probably ways to have a lot of success in that area, and we've had some ourselves, but just a different approach. In kind of, I mentioned already, kind of that structure built around leadership of every level, empowered systems, improving building processes, and also just trying to create a more smarter, more energy efficient construction product. And so we're still kind of backfilling what we are, our structure and some of the best practices for that. So we're kind of still in that turn, and so backfilling some of the systems. And so part of Anchor Builders is just kind of really filling that stuff out and being more of a positive example in our industry of how things can run as a team. And and then so that's continuing that journey. The other thing that we're doing is we're partnering with a local experienced designer, architect, Katie Dale, and we're launching Stonehouse, which is going to be a collaboration of architectural knowledge, design knowledge, building knowledge, and really focus on a place where homeowners can come in from architecture and performance goals. And there are design firms out there, architect firms out there that focus on that. One thing we're adding to that, though, is that kind of the build knowledge really early on in the conversation, and pricing. So a lot of times you can have great ideas on how to build something, but the price is a disconnect, or the building knowledge is, hey, this is a good concept on paper, but how is it proven in the industry? So really bringing all that three things together with myself, my brother John, with the kind of the business and collaboration and kind of client journey and build knowledge, science of it, and then with Katie Dale, who has overlapping strengths in those areas as well, but also the architect and in collaboration with our industry and design partners. And so it's a place where kind of really integrate the builder and build knowledge early on in the process and continue to price and check that we're on track the entire way. So that's another entrepreneurial venture that we're in the midst of launching this year. And that is something that has also been energizing, just to get back to kind of the origination of what is it like to start a business and do some of the things, take some lessons that I've learned sort of in round one and try to incorporate those earlier in sort of this new sister company.
Yeah, that sounds exciting.
Yeah, it is. It's been energizing to sort of get back to the drawing board on something and say, okay, how can we find a place to add another value to the industry?
That's great. So, Barak, knowing that this show is going to be targeted towards people who may be thinking about starting up a business or maybe in their first couple of years of business, do you have any final thoughts or words of advice you'd like to share with our audience today?
Yeah, actually, there's not a lot of this. The construction industry doesn't have a great front door. So if you want to become a doctor, lawyer, or any sort of the kind of the normal professions, so to speak, or the traditional professions, there is a pretty guided way to get there. There's a lot of times there's advisors in high school, parents, stuff like that. They can really guide you to say, hey, this is all the paths you go, and if you follow these paths, you can get there with hard work and some dedication. In our industry, I find that there's a lot of people that sort of fell off the train going somewhere else, like myself, and they just plopped into our industry and done some miracle, incredible things. And so there is not that. So I would say if you're trying to join the industry, look at, obviously just get a job and see where it goes because it is a little more of a high ceiling for individuals, no matter what their background is. If they're willing to work hard, a lot of energy into it, and surround themselves with good people, there's, a long way you can go. But also join a local organization like NARI. There's the Pro, Housing First, things like that, kind of the communities in our industry, and really surround yourself with community early. I'd say find your community and surround that with yourself early. And there's things like roundtables, peer groups, and it's a remarkable, especially in the remodeling industry, but just in general in businesses, there's a remarkable amount of willingness to sort of offer advice, some mentorship, just collaboration. Even if you find a peer group with businesses that are all in the same level as you, and you're all experiencing things for the first time and trying things for the first time, just having that community around you to bounce ideas off of. I think the one thing that I didn't know early on is the problems I was facing were not unique to me, and there's nothing uniquely wrong with me, or some ways there's not necessarily I know this super secret sauce that nobody's ever thought of, and it's more of building that community in the company, being part of the community in the industry, and sharing and developing ideas together. And I think that has been a lifeline that I wish I had discovered earlier on. And then, an extension, I think that is coaching. I think that whether it's specifically, expertise around whether it's financial planning or company development or building science, there's so many coaches available and so much knowledge available just to allow you to sort of speed forward a little bit on some of the knowledge and development. And hopefully, as that collective, you can avoid some of the pitfalls that some of us had faced earlier on. And a lot of us are really interested in sharing to help you, newer companies, newer owners, newer people in the industry, or just anybody in the industry, help find their path and avoid some of those things.
That's great. Well, listen, thank you so much for your time today, Barak.
Definitely. It's been enjoyable getting to know you a little bit better, and I look forward to following you in the future.
Yeah, and I appreciate your being on the show today. And to everyone watching, I look forward to seeing you in our next episode.